Salutations, ladies and gentlemen, the Streaming Enderman here, back again with another video. And in today's video, this is going to be a response to an open tag by Thrifty Kaniffy. I hope I pronounced that right. And this is 12 knives from around the world. So this is going to be 12 knives from 12 different nations, and the hashtag I will leave below. It should be Knife World Tour, I believe. But without any more dawdling, I'm going to jump straight into the first knife from the first nation, which is the USA. Now this is a case cheetah. I thought this would be a nice choice for the USA. I think that it's a very nice and well-made knife. You can see Case's logo is burnt into the wood. This is a cheetah, so you've got a flat swing guard, and when opened, it creates this stiletto-esque guard, which is very comfortable, very secure. Being a lock blade, this may not be legal in every country, but in the USA and Canada, it most certainly is. Strong spring, well made, beautiful clip point blade, mirror polished true sharp, which is similar to 420HC, nickel silver bolsters and guard, brass liners and pins, and this is in the box elderwood variant. I love this wood. It actually grows around here. It's also known as, there are a few names it goes by, box elderwood, boxwood, ashleaf maple, Manitoba maple. It goes by many names. Maybe not ashleaf maple, but I do know Manitoba maple is one of the many names it has. But very nice wood. Love the pattern in it. Great knife from the USA. Next up is Canada. This is a Groman from Nova Scotia, mini D.H. Russell lock blade. Originally, this was a larger locking hunting knife, and originally before that, it was a fixed blade, which is what it's well known for today. You've got nickel silver bolsters, brass pins and liners, another lockback. One thing I love about this knife is the transition from the lock to the blade. Very unique blade shape, kind of like a leaf-shaped blade with a bit of swedging going on. You've got some nice serration back here, not terribly noticeable. It's not going to cut you or anything. It's very good for gripping the blade and would also make for a good fire starter. Of course, this is from Pictou, Nova Scotia. Very nice lock blade. This one's great for closing using gravity. I do cut myself with this knife pretty often because if you hold down the lock and it falls, sometimes the blade, the sharpened part of the blade, will hit you. So you have to be careful with this knife. But all in all, very ergonomic, very comfortable, very unique. Really love this. This is in a beautiful rosewood. Love this knife. And plus, it's from Canada, and who wouldn't want a knife from their own country, right? So, got the USA, got their next door neighbor, Canada. Next up, we will be jumping overseas to Japan. Now, because I don't have very many Japanese knives from Japanese brands, I have a Spyderco, which is made in Japan, but for a true Japanese knife, I couldn't think of anything aside from the Higo no Kami. Beautiful little piece of folded brass with an extended tang, which can be used to open up a blue paper steel carbon Tonto-style blade. Very traditional, very simple. From what I've heard, these characters say Higo no Kami, although don't quote me on that. Very nice blade, very nice steel for a carbon steel. Very, very prone to rusting though, so you have to take care of it. Doesn't even look like a knife from here. Most people, if they saw this, would just think it's a bizarre keychain. Of course, you can get it in larger sizes. I went with the smallest one possible just because it was the cheapest, and I thought it was kind of a cute little thing to have in the pocket. But yeah, from Japan, the Higo no Kami. Next up, we have Portugal. This is the MAM. Looks similar to an Opinel. Again, burnt into the wood just like the case is their logo. MAM, Portugal since 1870. This is some beechwood. Very nice. This is a locking knife. Got a stainless steel ring. Use a nail nick to open up to a very nice kind of upswept blade with a black titanium finish. This is 420C, but it is heat treated like VG10. So interesting heat treatment, which probably would make the steel better. And as everyone knows, if you've been in the knife community, it's about the heat treatment more than it is about the steel. You can ruin good steel and you can make bad steel really good if the heat treatment is good. Like buck knives, 420HC is not a great steel, but their heat treatment does make it quite viable. Of course, it says MAM since 1870, titanium. Very nice black blade. Bit of a fingerprint magnet. And a very nice liner lock. Quite interesting. Most liner locks go throughout the entire length of the knife. This one's only a little bit of the knife. And while it's not sold as a left-handed lock, it kind of works better if you're using it with your left hand. I just love the sound of this knife when it opens. Very satisfying, very smooth. Really like this knife. Not better than an Opinel, because nothing's better than an Opinel. But there you go, Portugal. Next up, this one's probably not very well known. This is Norway. Now this is the Helle Kletten. Helle is well known for fixed blades, hunting knives, survival knives, skinning knives. Not much for folders, and this is their smallest folder yet. I'm very happy this knife is as strong as a tank, because that would have been very concerning had that been another knife. Very, very chunky knife. You can see you can certainly see a very hunting aesthetic in this. This looks like it could be a small fixed blade, but it's not. It's a lockback folder. Very strong lock. Very nice. It's only a 3-finger grip, but the way they've made an almost canoe-shaped handle, this does look almost like a canoe pattern. It's extremely comfortable to hold. Even if your pinky is just kind of gripping this last little bit, it's still very comfortable. And if you put the lanyard, which is included on, I'm not good at tying lanyards, so I decided to leave it off. You get a full 4-finger grip if you're grabbing the lanyard. So very comfortable knife. Very nice kind of drop point shape. This is a satin finish. Very nice Scandi grind. On this side, Helle, Norway, Kletten, and then here, very tiny, print, it says, made in Norway. This is some curly birch for the scales, fixed with Torx screws, and of course a very clean lanyard hole. The craftsmanship on this is easily equal to Lion Steel, GEC maybe even. Very, very, very good craftsmanship. These are entirely handmade too, which does elevate the price, but very solid, chunky folder. Doesn't feel like something that you have to baby or, worry about breaking. This is a user knife. Very, very nice knife from Norway. Next up, you can't ignore the old classic, Switzerland with a Swiss Army knife. Now, most Swiss Army knives, they're the red plastic, but I figured I'm going to do something different and showcase one of my preferred Swiss Army knives. This is a more classic pen knife. This is the Excelsior with a primary spear point blade with the usual Sandvik steel. Beautiful, beautiful blade. You can see both blades operate on one spring. Very well put together. Of course, these are machine made, so you can expect next to no flaws with your Swiss Army knives. And of course, a small little pen blade. Technically the same blade shape, it's just that larger spear points are called spear points, while smaller ones are called pen blades. But this is a classic example of a pen knife with a little lanyard or keychain ring. Stamped steel, very thin, very lightweight. Again, another solid knife you wouldn't worry about breaking. Very well put together. I'm not sure if this is a discontinued knife, but again, came with a little pouch so you could put it in. Very nice, lovely little, very inexpensive gentleman's knife. Love it. That's Switzerland. Next up, we have Germany. Now, this is already one of my favorite knives, and I have barely had it for not even maybe 2, approaching 3 months. And this is the Ottermesser Drei Nietenmesser, also known as the 3-rivet knife. Grenadilla blackwood scales, utterly gorgeous. Very nice grain pattern. You got your 3 rivets, which are made of brass. Very solid knife put together. Steel liners, brass pins. And you can see that's a lot of wood. You're getting a very thick piece of wood. For example, here on the case, you can see you're only getting a little thin piece of wood on each side. Well, this is a thick piece of wood. So very nice in the hand. Of course, I like how they worked the bolsters here. I believe these are carbon steel or even iron. The transitions are really, really smooth on this knife. And it opens up to a very solid carbon steel spear point blade. Got a little bit of a patina going on here. I've used this a little bit. And it's a little tough to see the tang stamp, but it says Zollingen, Germany, with the Otter logo up here. Very well made, very comfortable, very good user knife. Not, again, most of these knives are knives you wouldn't really worry about breaking. You don't have to baby them. They're using knives. They're very good quality. Love this knife. That's the Ottermesser 3-rivet knife. Next up, moving to a very obscure brand probably most people haven't heard of, we've got Kislar Supreme of Russia. This is the Kislar Supreme Gent. This is a slim slip joint folder. You've got very clean back, no gaps going on. Stainless steel liners and stainless steel bolsters. It's like a modern slip joint, modern traditional. Cattle bone, which is very smooth, very nicely done, with screws to hold it in as opposed to pins, so you can remove these scales if you want. And you've got a nice satin finished clip point blade. Very much like this. The choil is lovely. It says Kislar Supreme right there. Gent 440C steel. These are Russian made, very comfortable, very ergonomic for a traditional. My one okay then. Very slippery. Smooth bone is not the most grippy material out there. I have a couple complaints with this knife. One is that the spring is almost a little bit too loose, so it's not a very strong spring. This is not one that you'd feel would be unlikely to close. It's a bit of a weaker spring, and I'm not a huge fan of that. You can see you can easily close this with one hand, no half stops. And the other thing that I'm not a huge fan of is that the blade in the closed position does move side to side, so there can be a little bit of scraping going on in here. But aside from a slightly weaker spring and a bit of movement, this is a very nice knife. Not a hard use knife. Be a small knife for smaller tasks. So that's Russia. Next up is France. This is what is often considered the traditional Laguiole. This one is from Laguiole Le Fidèle. You can see the blade logo right here. I believe that's a dog. For some reason, various French companies have used different animals for their logo. For example, Laguiole and Abroc uses, I believe, an ox or maybe a bull, but this one is a dog for Laguiole Le Fidèle. You can see that this is a little bit blurry, but it says 12C27 France. Again, you have that beautiful hand-done file work from the blade to the bee, all the way throughout the spring. Love the brass bolsters, brass pins for the handle, for the wood, and nickel pins for the bolsters. Brass liners, steel spring, beautiful kind of clip point blade with a gorgeous mirror polish. And this is ebony wood with the shepherd's cross, very traditional for a Laguiole. I figured I was going to use an Opinel, but I always use an Opinel, so kind of figured I'd do something different. So, yeah, Laguiole Le Fidèle, very strong spring on this. That's France. Next up is Italy. You've got a leather pouch and lanyard for the Lion Steel Opera. Santos mahogany wood, very, very nice. You can see this side's a little lighter than this side. No opening mechanism, it's just a pinch to open. Very nice kind of spear drop point D2 blade. I like D2 steel quite a bit. It's a hollow grind, Lion Steel, Italy D2, Max design. You can see there's a bit of jimping going on here. You can't really feel it, but it is there. Got a back lock here, very clean back, steel liners, steel spring, and a nice leather lanyard. Really enjoy this knife for carrying. Overall, very lovely. So that's Italy. And last, but most certainly not least, the UK. Now, this is England in this particular example. This is a Taylor's Eyewitness Barlow. This is their Premier Collection Barlow made by Lee White. Very nice. You can see polished steel bolsters, brass pins, I believe. Yep, brass pins, brass liners, 420 HC steel blade, desert ironwood scales. You can see they kind of slippery. Got the Eyewitness Sheffield England stamped on both bolsters. Both of the bolsters, pardon me. I really enjoy that. Very, very nice. Got this flat top, which is great for just preventing any dust or dirt from getting in. Very much like that. Half stops, very positive. And it opens up to a beautiful mirror polished stainless steel 420 HC clip point blade. Very traditional for a Barlow. Of course, you have Eyewitness Sheffield England stamped right there on the blade as well. So 3 stamps overall. Very nice. Beautiful polish. Very comfortable. Fills the hand. You can see great feel. Excellent fit and finish. Transitions are beautiful. No real gapping going on in the file work, which goes throughout the entire length of the spring, all the way onto the blade. It's just done perfectly. And this is handmade too. Gorgeous craftsmanship. Brilliant handmade knife. Again, steel bolsters, brass liners, and pins. I believe those are brass. Are those brass? Yes, those are brass. Keep thinking they're nickel. Brass pins, brass liners, steel bolsters, 420 HC, mirror polished clip point blade, file work back spring, and it extends to the front of the blade, and some beautiful Arizona desert ironwood for the scales. Some nice thick pieces of wood. Beautiful fit and finish. Nice half stops. Great Barlow knife overall. Love the craftsmanship on this. This is one of my favorite knives already. Hats off to Lee White who made this. All these other knives, I don't know who the craftsmen are, but this is one step away from being a custom knife. And yeah, absolutely would recommend. Yeah, absolutely would recommend that from Taylor's Eyewitness of Sheffield. So those are my choices. 1, England. 2, Italy. 3, France. 4, Switzerland. 5, Portugal. 6, Norway. 7, Germany. 8, Russia. 9, 9 USA. 10, Japan. 11, Canada. Oh, and I forgot the 12th. Spain. This is a Kudman, so Spanish-made, Spanish brand, Vendetta Stiletto. This is a slip joint, and it's a very well-made one at that. Transitions are beautiful. Steel liners, a bit of gapping at the back you can see here. Olive wood scales, brass pins, stainless steel spear point blade. Very, very, very pointy tip. It's got the nice logo, Kudman, Molibendo, Vanadio, made in Spain. I don't know what that means because I don't speak Spanish. But yeah, very nice logo. I almost forgot this one. It was behind the camera. Very comfortable, very simplistic. No half stops again. Decent spring tension. But again, I really like the wood. Olive wood's always a reliable choice. And I almost forgot that one, but thankfully I remembered it just in time. But yes, that's Spain, Kudman, Vendetta Stiletto. So there you go. Spain, USA, Russia, Canada, Norway, Portugal, Germany, Japan, Switzerland, France, Italy, and UK. Those are my 12 choices. So I hope those were okay. Let me know what you think of them in the comments. I really enjoyed making this. And yeah, I think that this was a great open tag. I will leave the hashtag for Knife World Tour for those looking for it. And yeah, really like this. Really enjoy these open tags, whether making them or responding to them. But yeah, that's my response. 12 knives, 12 nations. And gosh, I really hope I didn't lose count and I only did 11. Let me just do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, yeah. 12 for sure. Those are my 12. Hope you enjoyed them. And yeah, thanks for this. I enjoyed taking part in this. And this is the Streaming Enderman, as always, signing off. Goodbye.